When I take a look at the Star Wars franchise, there's no denying that the Star Wars original trilogy by far is the best trilogy out there. Some of you may disagree, but I really do believe that those films are so rich in material, not just because of what they were at the time back in the 70s and the 80s, but also because George Lucas was behind all those movies to some extent. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's great about George Lucas is that he himself came up with the idea of 1977's Star Wars A New Hope, and how he was also involved with The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and everything related to The Rise of Skywalker. This is where things begin to get very, intriguing, because we do know that Kathleen Kennedy had a major role in the reshoots and the rewrites of this film, and she was the main reason as to why it was a very difficult production for JJ, Chris Terrio, and the cast and the crew on set over in Jordan and Pinewood and Cardington and other locations around the world in order to fulfill the movie. Now, Kathleen Kennedy, like I say, we've gone over this before, that she's very incompetent as the leader of Lucasfilm, as the president of all things Star Wars, essentially. And when you look at Kathleen Kennedy, this really is a light at the end of the tunnel, the fact that she no longer has power over creative decisions for all of the Star Wars projects that are currently in the works on Disney Plus and for theatrical releases moving on forward into the future. Now, when we look at everything to The Rise of Skywalker and George Lucas, and now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are moving on to their new Star Wars universe and their new Star Wars trilogy of films to make Star Wars as successful as they can for this decade. However, though The Rise of Skywalker had the most difficult production out of all 5 Star Wars films that Disney created, The Rise of Skywalker had many problems that J.J. Abrams, George Lucas, and Chris Terrio had to go through with, and a majority of this had to do with Kathleen Kennedy interfering with the creative choices for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, it's noted that at one point in time during the production of the film, Kathleen Kennedy was angry and frustrated with George Lucas and his input with Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and that this had to do with both George Lucas and J.J. Abrams borrowing creative ideas from Colin Trevorrow's script for Episode 9, and that Kathleen Kennedy did not want these ideas to actually be placed into the script that were written into the script for Episode 9. Since Kennedy had great problems with Colin's work for what was called Duel of the Fates at the time. Now, it's also said that also on top of all of this, Kathleen Kennedy did not like George's take on the ending of Episode 9 by keeping Ben Solo alive and well and revealing a large Jedi temple on Tatooine, and that Kennedy saw this as a way to keep the doors open for the Skywalker saga to actually continue, and that she personally wanted to end it for all good, at least when it came to the movies. Now, it's said that this played a major role as to why George Lucas did not want to attend the premiere for The Rise of Skywalker back in mid-December, and why he was a no-show because of the problems behind the scenes between himself and Kathleen Kennedy and more. So the thing with The Rise of Skywalker is that we do know that this movie had so much potential for what George and JJ were working on. Once again, this movie originally was 4 hours and 20-something minutes long in length, and there was a period in time, I would say it was like mid-2018 when we first started talking about this, and how Chris Terrio even confirmed this a couple of weeks ago, is that there was a point where they were actually talking about splitting the movie into 2 parts, where they would release one part in December of 2019 and the second part in May of this year. That, to me, I think would have been a great way to really make up for the mistakes of The Last Jedi and to really expand the Star Wars sequel trilogy and what it really could have been. In fact, it may have even, made up for some of the mistakes with The Force Awakens. There were some, flaws in The Force Awakens that really could have been, redone, such as the movie having too many, I guess you could say, beat for beats of Star Wars A New Hope, at least in my point of view. That was the one major flaw for Episode 7. But other than that, it was an entertaining movie. Now, when we look at Kathleen Kennedy, obviously the problems between herself and George Lucas, even J.J. Abrams, borrowing elements from Colin Trevorrow's script. Now, she is the main reason as to why Colin did not direct or write Duel of the Fates, is because Kathleen Kennedy did not like his creative choices. And if you guys have seen the concept art leaks, only a handful of them have leaked so far, is that his movie really seems like it was going to be quite something. I mean, we had Coruscant coming back, we had Force ghosts like Obi-Wan, Yoda, Luke, and more coming back into the mix, visually speaking as well. and that J.J. Abrams took a lot of notes from that to use for his version of Episode 9, and Kathleen Kennedy did not like this at the end of the day. So she interfered, and she really had problems with George Lucas on set, and was very frustrated with George's ending of Episode 9, of how originally Ben Solo was going to be kept alive at one point in time before the first phase of reshoots in late 2018, and how he was going to actually have a Jedi Temple be seen on the world of Tatooine. That was going to leave the doors open for the Skywalker saga to continue, which honestly I think it should have. It really should have been, you know, a new trilogy set up where it would actually give us a new journey between both Ben and Rey and the new Jedi Order. It would have been stunning. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.